a pre-seed investor or an early investor actually looks for two things. One, the market should be really big, and the second is if it's the right founders we are investing in. Everything else becomes secondary because sometimes the product may not be right, but the confidence that the market is big and the founders are right gives you that confidence that the founders would figure it out at some point. So everything is secondary, but the first, these are the two primary things when it comes to early stage investing.
Hello everyone, and that is my guest Surbhi Jain, the founder of Neend, an app that helps people sleep better. So in this episode she shares her journey sparked by battling insomnia during her bout with COVID. The frustration of insomnia led her to develop and release the MVP on YouTube. She experienced exponential organic growth. She talks about building a consumer app in the wellness space, talks about traction, funding, her background, and dealing with the competition. She talks about investing in startups herself and what she looks for. And finally, she talks about dealing with criticism of her WhatsApp display picture by an unnamed investor and much, much more. So please enjoy the show. Thank you. Hello, Surbhi. Thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Please tell the listeners what you do.
Sure. So I'm building a platform called Neend. Neend is supposed to be a one-stop solution for all your sleep problems. So if you're not able to fall asleep, tune in to Neend. Just install it and start using. It's as simple.
Awesome stuff. What inspired you to do this in the first place? What was the light bulb moment?
So it all started in COVID. Me and my entire family, which is including all the elders and the youngsters, everyone got infected COVID. And in that period, it was very stressful, to be honest. And in that period, I lost my sleep. Past recovery, I couldn't sleep for a couple of months. And that was the time I started looking for things which could help me. Honestly, I couldn't find much out there. And that's where the journey started. Coincidentally, I also met my future husband then.
Oh.
Been facing the sleep problems for a couple of years. And that was pretty surprising for me, who have always been blessed with a good sleep. I was actually infamous in college to sleep anywhere at any point of time very easily within a minute. This was my first instance where I was able to put myself in shoes of so many people out there who are facing this problem. And I could basically figure out the seriousness and see that so many people are facing this. And I thought maybe something is out there, and that built the curiosity starting from the personal problem itself. And that's where the journey started then.
Awesome stuff. And when did you start, and how are things going? If you can share some stats, perhaps.
So we started in 2021, and now we are at almost 1 million installs, combined both on Play Store and App Store. We distribute our content through not just the app, but few other channels as well. Combinedly on all the channels, our content has been listened more than 30 million times now.
How do you feel about those stats?
I think we have miles to go. The objective is to reach 200 million people by 2030. Want to become a household brand in every Indian house, further globally as well at some point.
Excellent. Let's go back to the start again. So you've done the research. What did you do next? What did you build an MVP? Did you speak to customers or potential customers?
So I actually talked to a lot of people. Many people were aware about their sleep problems, but they were not sure if there could be some solution. And I took a very mixed sort of approach. I also talked to people who are very urban in nature and whose first instinct is to search something online, to even people in rural areas where they're facing the problem, but their first instinct is not to Google anything. But if the problem becomes severe, the first instinct is to talk in the family first, and then they go to doctors as well. Now, when it comes to sleep related problems, people don't want to go to doctor because they are scared that the doctor will give them sleeping pills, which may have a lot of side effects and a long-term addiction or dependency as well. If we talk about the urban population as well, if the severity actually increases, they might have tried something here and there. They try to listen to some podcasts thinking that, let's say if we listen to history or something which we may not be as interested, we may fall asleep by listening to it. In some cases here and there it worked, but not always. They didn't have a good solution in mind. So this is how I started the journey. But coincidentally, I came across the solution bedtime stories as a solution.
Yeah.
Again, similar journey. Was talking to husband, trying to explain him about a travel um, history. So he is not at all into travel, and I was trying to
Okay.
convince, this is why you should travel. And I was just telling him one of my travel story, and he fell asleep on the call, and that
Okay.
I was obviously very angry at that point, but later I realized that, oh, this happened. Probably this can help others as well, and me too. And when I look back, actually, my grandfather used to tell me and my brother bedtime stories, and that's how we used to fall asleep in the childhood. That just gave me the initial thought, maybe this could be the beginning. So what we did then is that I wrote a couple of stories myself. I
Okay.
asked a few friends of mine to narrate those, and I thought making an app doesn't make sense at this point. Let's just distribute these somehow, and then get the feedback, and let's see if it works, and then we'll figure out the rest of the journey later on. Once we crafted these three stories in the beginning, I put it out on YouTube, gave a very initial push of 100 rupees in the beginning, and just did not talk about it to anyone else, because when you start out something, and if you talk to your friends and family and take feedback, it's often biased. So I did not want that. So I wanted complete strangers to try the product and then give me true feedback. In a couple of weeks itself, I saw a lot of people started trying these stories. And the next day, the next morning, they started coming on the channel and then asked for more such stories. And to be honest, these stories did not have any plot or something. It was just, for example, me uh, traveling somewhere and describing the environment around me, or me sitting in my balcony reading a book and having my chai and talking about the descriptive about the nature and surroundings. But people still were asking for these stories, which were clear that they were using it for a very simple reason.
Yeah.
They found those relaxing, or these are able to help them sleep. Fast forward a little bit. So the crux, this was the MVP for us, which
Yeah.
helped us to understand whether this would work or not as a solution to begin with. Then within a couple of weeks itself, which is not couple of weeks actually, roughly couple of months, by eighth week of launch of these stories, we had roughly 20,000 subscribers, all growing organically on the channel. That
Yeah.
gave us a huge confidence, and then we started building that.
Amazing stuff. Yeah. So, in terms of growth, how fast are you growing?
So okay, so I don't have a number in percentage right now, but every month we are adding roughly 30 to 40,000 customers. That's the rate of growth we are at right now.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. Awesome stuff. In terms of the app itself, was there any like design challenges?
I'm not sure whether to put it into growth or design, but we in the beginning thought, how do we really grow? Can we bring more users by asking our users to share the app? And we were not monetizing at this stage. We were just at an intermediate stage where we had the proof of concept, but we wanted to grow more and at the same time not monetize. So what we did on the app is that we logged most of the content and asked our users to share it with three friends to unlock the content. Generally, this kind of strategy work for most of the entertainment platforms, but it did not work for us at all. The customer instead started coming back and started cribbing about it, saying that, hey, when I'm trying to fall asleep at let's say 11 in the night, or let's say midnight, whom do I disturb by messaging or sharing about your app? And we just didn't think about it. It's so counterintuitive, because and when the customer came back to us, it made all sense, because yes, sharing is all okay, but you can't, it's against the philosophy we are building around, right? We don't want our customers to disturb their friends and family. Instead, opposite, they should be helping their friends and families to sleep. And then we removed this feature to share with anyone. So yeah, that was one of the mistake we committed in like early days.
Awesome stuff. Yeah. In terms of the cultural side of things, obviously India's got different languages, and any insights on that?
So actually, ideally, we should we should design the app in different languages.
Yeah.
But we kept in just one language right now, as English, but
Right.
we tried to make it as minimalistic in terms of the number of words we are using, etc. Because in between somewhere we tried to launch the app in multiple languages, but the UI started breaking because in every language, even if you talk about a single line, which let's say in English has 5 words, if you start translating it in different languages, the number of words increases, which basically breaks everything here and there. So ideally, if not needed, then the app should be designed in one language if people understand it really well. And we were okay to let go of people who don't understand English to that extent as well, that they can use a simple app.
Obviously, there's quite a few of these apps, bigger teams, bigger marketing spend, as it were. How do you deal with the competition?
Actually, we would have welcomed any sort of competition,
Yeah.
because competition actually expands the market as well, and creates a lot of awareness and education in the market. The challenge currently is that there's no competition, or not much of a competition, I would put it that way. There's no direct competition. There are some indirect competition. But if the competition was there, I think things would have been much better. I think it's a new category. Not much has happened in this category so far, and that's what we are trying to change. We are building this category so people know that their sleep problems can be tackled, rather than they don't need to basically ignore it anymore.
Awesome stuff. If you can give our listeners some sleep tips, perhaps. Obviously, use your app. I keep reading about don't drink coffee and get 8 hours. Is that right? Is that correct information? If you
So I think on that front, I'll start from basics.
Yeah.
And basics are basically have a good lifestyle, avoid as much external things like, for example, caffeine, alcohol, cigarettes, all that, and have more like a slightly more disciplined life. So fix your sleep schedule as much. So if you fix your sleep time and then have like good 7-8 hours of sleep on an average, and that would automatically fix your wake up time as well. And if you have that rhythm and regulation in your life, I think you would tend to have better sleep. A little bit of physical exercise also helps with sleep. Yeah, so that's the
Yeah.
mota I would say crux about it. Then there are a bunch of things which can help to either sleep better or can worsen it as well.
Okay.
But these are the 2-3 parameters which contributes a lot.
Okay. Cool. What about these those glasses, those blue light glasses or something?
So I haven't personally, to be honest, experimented with it.
Right.
There's definitely a role of blue light in our sleep, or just before that. If we basically use blue light, what happens is it starts mimicking the day for us.
Mhm.
And the melatonin, which releases in our body to regulate this circadian rhythm or the day night sense in our body, that basically gets confused, that whether it's a day or night, our brain and then our nervous system actually gets a missed signal if we use the blue light during the night. And to prevent that, people use basically the glasses and all. I think that all of, as a principle or as the science, it's correct, but I think it's getting a little overhyped as well, in my opinion. People should avoid as much blue light, but I don't think there's a need of glasses, etc. You can just avoid screen for some time, just for like half an hour of sleep, etc. So I think we are overusing a lot of things to fix the problems which shouldn't be the problem in the first place itself. Right?
Yeah, you mentioned that it's a free at the moment. Is there like a business model around it?
So the business model for Neend is basically we are building different verticals. The first vertical is the content vertical, where the business model is simple. It's a subscription-based model. Either you buy a monthly subscription or an yearly subscription, and the entire content library opens up for you, and that helps you to fall asleep. The second model or second vertical for us is commerce, where we have products which helps you to either feel relaxed or feel sleepy. The kind of products we have are, for example, sleep gummies, sleep tea, sleep spray, eye mask, gel mask to make you feel relaxed, and then there's a relaxing spray as well. So a bunch of products like this, and we are continuously expanding the product portfolio. So the in this case, the model is very direct. It's a D2C business.
How are things going in terms of sales then? What's been the big seller then?
Content subscription has been our hero product, and people try the content without any hesitation, etc. And then since it really works, more than 90% of the times people fall asleep within few minutes, and that's why they then tend to take the subscription either on the same day or same week itself.
In terms of funding, talk about that journey.
We actually took the pre-seed funding before even we had a business, in terms of revenue and all. In the beginning, we launched our MVP as a YouTube channel, and then started working on our app. App was launched like a month back when we started raising the funding. So it was pretty much pre-revenue. The business model was not proven. We started talking to a few angel investors and few funds who does a pre-seed funding. We closed the round in about 2 months of period, in terms of from starting to end, in terms of closing the round, not the paperwork, etc. Then the paperwork started, and it took another couple of months.
Tell me a bit about you then. What's your background?
So I come from a very small town of Rajasthan. It's a small village of population of roughly 5,000 people. It's in Rajasthan, as I said. I was born and brought up there, did my initial schooling until 10th grade there. In terms of resources, etc., it's pretty backwards. We only had one school, and that too was a government school where I've done my most of schooling. I come from a lower middle class family background. I have my parents and my brothers, and it was a joint family, so a lot of cousins and the other family members. Then and it was a pretty conservative setup. My entire family was in business, and since it was a small village, a girl's education was looked at the one of the lower priority thing. But my parents really wanted me to study, and that's why they sent me to Kota for my coaching, JE coaching, and then I cracked IIT and then went to IIT Bombay. That's how the journey began. And for last roughly 9 to 10 years, I've been in the startup ecosystem, either building something on my own or investing in startups to basically give back to the community.
You must have seen quite a few pitches then, PowerPoint slides. Advice our listeners on specifically looking for.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them actually, and during my VC journey as well. That was the work day in, day out, like evaluating the startups. I think keeping it simple and communicating just the basic things. Why have you started? What is the basically the problem what you are trying to solve, and how differently are you solving it, and why are you the right team? I think, and why it is the right timing as well to solve this problem. I think these 4-5 factors, if you clearly communicate it to a VC, I think that's a game changer, and you'll stand out automatically. Because I've seen a lot of PPTs which are very lengthy, very beautifully designed, but these points don't come across very, clearly. Even sometimes market size is something which people don't do properly, which is such a big thing, because a pre-seed investor or an early investor actually looks for two things. One, the market should be really big, and the second is if it's the right founders we are investing in. Everything else becomes secondary, because sometimes the product may not be right, but the confidence that the market is big and the founders are right gives you that confidence that the founders would figure it out at some point. So everything is secondary, but the first, these are the two primary things when it comes to early stage investing.
Okay, that's good advice there. In terms of your team then, talk about your team. How big is it, and are you all working in the same office, or are you remote working, or are you hiring?
Yeah, we are not hiring right now, but the team is very small. We have kept it lean. We have a hybrid model. A few of my team members actually work from office in Bangalore, and a few of them actually work from their respective hometowns, which is across India. Most of our team is actually freelancers and part-timers. That's how we have structured the team.
Yeah, last few questions then. When I was doing my research on you, I read an article where someone had criticized you for dyeing your hair.
Yeah, so I think, in India, we have been seeing this bias from, and it's been there since long.
Yeah.
Bias in terms of, and the bias could be in any sense, right? The way you look or the way you carry yourself, etc. And there has been bias around women as well, that they don't get enough opportunity because people don't think they'll perform better, or and this like and there's obviously bias around the way you should carry yourself in a professional setup. So this was one of the incidents where an industry veteran has pinged me in the night at 1 a.m. and he said that your profile picture is not professional, you should consider to change it. You should, I remember he specifically said that you should focus more on your business rather than, like, things like this. And I was taken a little aback. I didn't mention this part on the social media, but how does my picture basically give an impression that I'm not focused on my business? And how is it not professional? I mean, just coloring my hair, and that's just because it's a different color, right?
Yeah.
You would see a lot of men in the industry has been coloring their hair, though it's just a black color. They have been um they have been doing it and nobody has mentioned. And I mean, there are a lot of biases. I think we should let people the way they want to be. That would definitely increase the tolerance in the ecosystem. It would be more inclusive. People would be more comfortable working in that sort of environment where you are not judged. I think that's more professional as compared to telling someone at 1 a.m. in the morning that you are not professional. For no context, you are pinging someone and saying this, right? That in my opinion is definitely not professional. And I don't think I'm like unprofessional in any sense.
Yeah, that's very strange. That never sort of came across that before. In terms of advice for our founders, our first-time founders, what should they be focusing on first?
To begin with, focus on what matters and what would give the PMF to you earliest. How do you basically be closer to the customers, understand their problem really, really well, and then just do minimalistic things which are just focused towards solving that problem. Everything else is facade. So, for example, a lot of founders, the first thing they do in the beginning when they get funding is hire many people unnecessarily, or get a fancy office, etc. Now all these things are good to do at slightly later stage, but when you are very early in the journey, the entire focus should be on the PMF, getting the PMF as early as possible. Everything else is something which is not needed and would keep distracting you from like getting the PMF early.
Yeah, good advice there. In terms of a wellness app, then, say someone wants to do a wellness app, give advice to.
Sure. So see, if you are starting a wellness business, I would say start it only if you feel or if you have that passion about this field, because this is a very difficult space. It's not like you're going to grow or become a unicorn in 3 years like few other businesses, right? It would grow slow. It would be painful as well. If you don't have that passion and if you don't feel that empathy for the customers which is required to build this business, I think you wouldn't be able to take the other challenges which comes with it. So start it by all means, but only start if you have that passion to be in this. And this is a long term business, not a short term where, like, as I said, you'll become a unicorn in few years.
Yeah.
So I think that's my 2 cents about if you want to start. And we definitely need more and more people starting in this segment, so that, like, this there's more awareness, there's more education, the market expands as well. And yeah, that would make the ecosystem move for sure.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, what excites you most about what you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, so I'll talk about both the things actually. Excites and the frustrating part as well. So as I said, it's a painful business. It's slow as well at times. Things don't move as much, or it's not the business where basically people would be automatically put a lot of money to begin with. So for example, the awareness is not so much. Paying capacity or paying affinity for people for something like sleep is not as much at this point. But what excites me on day-to-day basis is when I talk to our customers on daily basis. So the first thing I do in the morning is text couple of customers and then talk to them And that's something that when I get feedback from them, either it's being positive or negative, doesn't matter, but that really pumps me, because the positive feedback definitely reaffirms and is very sort of, excites you or pumps you up. But at the same time, negative feedback also keeps you grounded, and basically you become closer to the pain point again and again, and you keep solving it, and it helps you to build the depth around the subject as much possible. So, and who else would tell you that other than your customer? So that's something which is really exciting.
Awesome stuff. Last question for people who want more information about you and the app. What must they do?
Yeah, so we have a website. You can go there and check the information. It's called Neend NEEND.app. You can directly install the app as well from Play Store or App Store. You can see all the information there. You can just type Neend and you'll see it there.
Awesome. Surbhi, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Awesome. Great stuff.